I, 25-year-old female, and my husband, 31-year-old male, have been married for almost 3 years now. Everything is going well in our marriage, but when it comes to my birthday, I feel a bit odd. I love the fact that he puts in effort to buy me gifts on special occasions like our anniversary, Valentine's Day, birthdays, etc., but I feel like I'm a jerk for disliking most of the things he gives me. A couple of months ago, we were talking with my husband about the new iPhone 15 Pro Max that I'd like to have. I currently have an iPhone 12 Pro Max. He asked me repeatedly why I want the iPhone 15 Pro Max instead of the smaller iPhone 15 Pro. I simply replied, "I don't know, I'm just used to bigger ones, and I always watch all my series and YouTube videos on my phone, so the bigger screen is more useful to me. When I feel that my current phone is dying, I will buy the newest one on my own. By the way, I hate watching TV because I move a lot in the house while doing household duties, so bringing the phone with me to continue watching my series is more useful to me." He insisted that it's a bit ridiculous to want the bigger phone, but that's how I feel and what's more practical to me. Fast forward to my birthday last weekend. I had a very fun birthday with my whole family, and everyone enjoyed the barbecue. After I blew out the candles, I received some cute gifts, and then my husband came up to me with his. He handed me a little box that he had wrapped really cute, and after opening it, I realized it was an iPhone Pro, not the Max. I was very happy because he obviously wanted to give me something I wanted. I hugged him and gave him a thank you kiss. However, when we came home, he asked me if I didn't like my gift. I said I did. That's when he said, "I know you wanted the bigger one, but when I was at the phone mall, I was searching for the Pro Max, and that's when I saw the smaller one." I held both phones in my hands and thought that the little one was more practical due to the difference in size, and it fit better in my hand. The seller also told me that wives who have the Pro Max are more likely to keep a Pro Max rather than switch to smaller sizes. I didn't care. The smaller one fit better. "I still don't understand why you want the bigger one, so that's why I got you this one." There was silence for a minute. I just smiled and thanked him again, went to the bathroom to take a shower. I feel like I don't like my gift anymore because of his weird explanation, and the fact that he bought it because he felt it fit better in his hand. I am the one who is going to use it. I don't know. It's odd to me, and I haven't used the new phone I got because I like my current phone much more. My husband doesn't talk to me and calls me ungrateful. Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. OP, this must end. For your own and your husband's good. Let him know, "I'm sorry, honey, but I'm going to change the phone for the one I want. I know you mean well and that you don't intend to make me feel smaller or stupid when you think you know better than me about myself. But the truth is, I do have my own taste and criteria, and I can't help it. But I don't like this phone. Since what you want by gifting me things is to make me happy, you'll be happy that I get what I really want." Well, I'm sure there is a better way to tell him this. Less passive-aggressive. But I'm mad, and this is the best I could do. At least there are no slurs. Comment 2. He heard what you wanted and decided that you were wrong because he knew better and got you what he decided you wanted. You needed a shower because his behavior is gross. It's patronizing and insulting. It shows how little he respects you and how much he doesn't care about your feelings. My husband doesn't talk to me and calls me ungrateful. He's also emotionally hurtful and manipulative. This isn't a great marriage. It's a lot of red flags. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks so much for your comments and support on my last post. It's been pretty up and down of a month since my birthday, and I wanted to give you all an update on what's been going on. After the whole iPhone incident, things were pretty tense between my husband and me. We barely spoke for a few days, and when we did, it was just short, clipped conversations. I tried to explain to him again why I preferred the bigger phone, but he just couldn't seem to understand. He kept insisting that the smaller one was more practical, and that I was being unreasonable. As the days went on, the tension between us only grew. I found myself spending more and more time out of the house just to avoid the awkward silences and passive-aggressive comments. I threw myself into my work, staying late at the office and taking on extra projects. When I was at home, I busied myself with household chores and errands, anything to keep from having to confront the issue head-on. But as much as I tried to ignore it, the problem wasn't going away. My husband's behavior was becoming increasingly erratic and controlling. He started questioning me about where I was going and who I was with, even when I was just running to the store or meeting a friend for coffee. He would get angry if I didn't answer his calls or texts right away, accusing me of hiding something from him. Things came to a head one night when I got home late from work. My husband was waiting for me in the living room, his face twisted with anger. He demanded to know where I had been and who I had been with, refusing to believe me when I told him I had just been at the office. He accused me of cheating on him, of being ungrateful for everything he had done for me. I was stunned. I had never given him any reason to doubt my faithfulness, and the idea that he would accuse me of something like that was deeply hurtful. I tried to reason with him, to explain that I had just been working late, but he wasn't having it. He stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind him. I was left alone, feeling confused and betrayed. I couldn't understand how things had gotten so bad so quickly. I thought back to our early days together, how happy and in love we had been. We had always been able to talk through our problems before, to find a way to compromise and understand each other's perspectives. But now, it felt like we were speaking different languages, like we were two strangers living under the same roof. I didn't know how to fix it, how to bridge the gap that had grown between us. In the days that followed, I tried to reach out to my husband, to find a way to talk things through. But he was distant and cold, refusing to engage with me beyond the bare minimum. I could feel him slipping away from me, and I didn't know how to stop it. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I sat him down and told him that we needed to talk, really talk, about what was going on between us. I poured my heart out to him, telling him how much I loved him and how much I wanted to make things work. But he just sat there, stone-faced and silent. And then he said the words that I never thought I would hear from him. I want a divorce. I was stunned. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I tried to argue with him, to convince him that we could work things out, but he was resolute. He said that he couldn't be with someone who didn't appreciate him, who didn't value his opinions and feelings. I was devastated. I couldn't imagine my life without him, couldn't fathom the idea of starting over on my own, but I knew that I couldn't force him to stay with me, couldn't make him love me if he didn't want to. So, with a heavy heart, I agreed to the divorce. We separated our assets and went our separate ways, each of us trying to pick up the pieces of our shattered lives. It's been a month now since everything happened, and I'm still trying to come to terms with it all. I know that I made mistakes, that I could have been more understanding and appreciative of my husband's efforts, but I also know that his behavior towards the end was unacceptable, that no one deserves to be treated with such suspicion and mistrust. I'm taking things one day at a time, focusing on my work and my friendships and trying to rebuild my life. It's not easy, and there are days when the pain feels overwhelming. But I know that I will get through this, that I am strong enough to face whatever challenges come my way. Thank you all for listening and for your support. It means more to me than you could ever know. My cheating ex begs for forgiveness after her affair. Partner dumps her, but I serve her divorce papers and watch her world crumble. So Emma was cheating on me. The rods and pre-workout didn't go to her family, it went to her affair partner. I found this out when her parents invited me over to their house. When I got there, Emma looked sick, like she hadn't eaten for days. Her parents asked why I kicked her out, and that my neglecting her is taking a toll on her mental health. Emma sat there silently crying. I explained that I never kicked her out, and Emma refused to talk to me for weeks before I sent the divorce papers. I showed them texts of me practically begging her to come home so we can talk it out. I asked Emma what did she tell her parents. Her dad chimed in, saying that I went back on my word about letting her brother stay with me. I asked what they were talking about, and the reason we got into an argument is because they were supposed to move in. Emma ran to her room before she could be questioned. Her parents explained that they were happy with their home and had no plans to leave. I then showed them the text from her sister Mary, explaining how Emma was mad at her because she couldn't take her parents in. They were confused, I was confused, so her parents called Mary to have her explain. Her brother Jake was also there. Emma just explained everything. Emma was cheating on me, Jake caught her, and kinda blackmailed her. So he was a freshman in high school and we live in a better district where basketball recruiting is more likely to happen. Emma thought I would be more inclined to say yes, if I thought it was her parents moving in. Emma's parents called her downstairs immediately. She was listening and began to tell her side. Her affair partner's wife found out, so he thought that relationship was over because she kicked him out of the house. He convinced Emma to quit her job because he got a job opportunity in a different state, but he was secretly meeting with his wife and they got back together. He hadn't put in his 2 weeks yet, so his life resumed normally. Emma, on the other hand, didn't even put in her 2 weeks and just stopped showing up, so she was fired. And when her affair partner told her it's over, she went into a depression and tried to call me so we can go to counseling. I told her it's over and asked that she sign the paperwork so this divorce can go smoothly. She begged for another chance, but I just left her crying. Her parents informed me later that night that Emma was in the hospital from an overdose of pills. I just ignored it. Her dad is asking that I come visit to show I care. I texted back that I don't care. I don't know what to do. The moment I found out about the affair, I fell out of love. But I feel cruel not going to visit her. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. LMAO, she was stealing from you to appease her brother. In order for him to not tell you the truth about her cheating posterior, I can't muster the sympathy to feel bad for her at all. Comment 2. Not the idiot. She would have kept going if the AP did not drop her. Obviously, her plan backfired and she had no backup plan. Sorry to feel happy for a cheater to get what he deserves. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments and support on my last post. It's been a tough few months since I found out about Emma's affair, and a lot has happened. 3 months ago, I was still reeling from the shock of discovering Emma's infidelity. I couldn't believe that the woman I loved and trusted had been cheating on me. It felt like my entire world had been turned upside down. I was angry, hurt, and confused, but I knew I had to stay strong and focus on moving forward. One of the hardest things I had to do was tell our mutual friends about the divorce. It was a conversation I had been dreading, but I knew it was necessary. I invited a few of our closest friends over for dinner and broke the news to them. They were shocked and saddened, but they were also supportive of me. They assured me that they would be there for me, no matter what. As the weeks went by, I started to adjust to my new reality. I threw myself into work and started going to the gym more often. It helped me take my mind off things and gave me a sense of purpose. I also started seeing a therapist, which was incredibly helpful. It was a safe space for me to process my emotions and work through the trauma of the affair. However, just as I was starting to feel like I was getting back on my feet, I received some devastating news. Emma had been in a car accident and was in critical condition. I was at work when I got the call from her parents, and I rushed to the hospital immediately. When I arrived, I found out that Emma had been driving under the influence of alcohol and had crashed into a tree. She had suffered severe injuries and was in a coma. The doctors weren't sure if she would ever wake up. I was torn. On one hand, I was still angry and hurt by what Emma had done. I had been working so hard to move on and rebuild my life, and now I was being pulled back into her orbit. On the other hand, I still cared about her and didn't want to see her suffer. I spent the next few weeks visiting Emma in the hospital every day. I sat by her bedside, holding her hand and talking to her, even though I wasn't sure if she could hear me. It was a surreal experience, seeing the woman I had once loved so deeply lying there, helpless and broken. As the days turned into weeks, I started to feel a sense of guilt. I couldn't help but wonder if I had somehow driven Emma to this point. Had I been too hard on her? Should I have given her another chance? These thoughts consumed me, and I found myself struggling to sleep at night. One day, as I was sitting by Emma's bedside, her sister pulled me aside. She told me that Emma had been struggling with depression and anxiety for years, long before she met me. She had been self-medicating with alcohol and had never gotten the help she needed. This revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized that Emma's affair and subsequent behavior weren't just about me. She had been dealing with her own demons, and I had been too wrapped up in my own pain to see it. I made the difficult decision to step back from Emma's care. I knew that I couldn't be the one to help her through this. She needed professional help and the support of her family. It was a hard choice, but I knew it was the right one. In the months since, I've continued to work on myself. I've started dating again, cautiously, and I've found a new sense of purpose in my work. I still think about Emma from time to time, and I hope that she's getting the help she needs. Looking back, I realized that the affair was just the tip of the iceberg. There were deeper issues at play, and I wish I had been more attuned to them. But I also know that I can't blame myself for what happened. I did the best I could with the information I had at the time. Thanks for reading and for all your support. It means more than you know. My best friend gets pregnant by a liar and expects me to raise the kid. But when I find his letter and learn the truth, I make sure he pays for his deceit and leaves him broke and alone. Mary and I, both 25-year-old females, have been best friends since high school. She's smart, supportive, kind, and I love her to bits. But her one flaw has been her consistently poor taste in men. Other friends and I have tried to get her to go to therapy for it. That's how terrible it is. But she refuses and doesn't think there's anything wrong with liking exciting men. Well, one of those exciting men just got her pregnant. Apparently, he swore up and down he had a vasectomy, so they could have intimacy without a condom, and then left for France and blocked her everywhere once she told him she was pregnant. She has just graduated from college and started her career, and she herself knows she is not in a position to have a baby. However, she has decided she will because she won't be doing it alone, and she will have people to raise her baby with her. When I asked her who will be raising the baby with her, since the father is clearly not in the picture and her own parents are 6 states away, she said, "You guys." I told her that while our other friends and I would probably volunteer to babysit from time to time, we were not in a position to help her with a newborn or a baby. We all just graduated or are in grad school. Some of us are moving away to other cities, and others are too busy to meet up even once a week for drinks. There is just no way that we will be able to support her consistently. She got very upset and asked me if I was planning on refusing her request to stay with her for at least 1 month after she gave birth. And I told her that yes, I wouldn't be able to, because I have an insanely stressful job and other responsibilities. She then said our other friends will step up, and I was maybe mean and told her that they wouldn't, not like she wants them to at least, and that if she wants to have the baby, she should be ready to do everything on her own and come to terms with being a single mother. She called me an ungrateful jerk and left, then blocked my number or so, I assume, because none of my texts are getting delivered. I'm now feeling bad, and I'm doubting that maybe I'm selfish because she's been a great friend. Am I the idiot? Edit. She has now told our other friends about her pregnancy and her desire for them to be as involved as possible. I don't know how everybody is responding, but I've received a few panicked texts. I will probably update once things settle down a bit, but I just wanted to clarify some things. Plus, she is smart and kind. She graduated first in her class at uni and is now working at an amazing company, and she's always been supportive of everyone and the kind of friend you can count on to be there for you. And we have done the same for her in the past, it's just that this is a bit too much. I and the others value her as a friend. Plus, the man who got her pregnant and left wasn't a one-night stand or a stranger. He was her boyfriend of 3 months. We did warn her about him because he was very sketchy, never wanted to meet her friends or even in public, didn't want her to meet his, never gave her any details about how long he was staying in the States, what he did for work, etc. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Time-sensitive issue. Reality check desperately needed. I am sure it feels harsh, but isn't it better to be honest up front? Wouldn't it be worse if everybody promised support and then was unavailable when she needs it? And you are right. She will need a lot of support. You can't be that for her. Not on the level she'll need. She is already being unrealistic. Stay a month with her? You might be better off if she stays upset. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your mistake was telling her the truth. They never want to hear the truth. So, Mary likes exciting men? Uh-huh. We all know what that means. The real loser out of all this will be the poor child she wants to have. If she won't have a baby unaliving or give it up for adoption, heaven help the little one. Advice: exit stage left. Do not get sucked into the drama that is coming right at you. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last post, and I wanted to give you all an update on what's been happening with Mary and her pregnancy. Thank you for all your support and advice. 3 months have passed, and things have taken a turn for the worse. Mary's pregnancy has been difficult, with severe morning sickness and complications that have required her to take time off work. She's been struggling to make ends meet, and her financial situation has become dire. I've been trying to help her out as much as I can, but it's been tough. One day, I made a mistake that changed everything. I was at Mary's place, helping her with some chores, when I accidentally knocked over a stack of papers on her desk. As I was picking them up, I noticed a letter from her ex-boyfriend, the one who had gotten her pregnant, and then disappeared to France. I couldn't help but read it, and what I discovered was shocking. In the letter, Mary's ex revealed that he had never actually had a vasectomy. He had lied to her about it because he didn't want to use condoms. He also admitted that he had never intended to stay with her long-term, and that he had only been using her for intimacy. The letter was cruel and heartless, and I couldn't believe that someone could be so callous. I confronted Mary about the letter, and she broke down in tears. She admitted that she had known about his lies for weeks but had been too ashamed to tell anyone. She had been holding out hope that he would change his mind and come back to her, but the letter had shattered that illusion. The revelation of her ex's true nature had a profound effect on Mary. She became withdrawn and depressed, barely leaving her apartment. She stopped going to work and stopped taking care of herself. I tried to be there for her as much as I could, but I was struggling with my own guilt over having read the letter without her permission. As the weeks went by, Mary's mental health continued to deteriorate. She stopped answering my calls and texts, and I grew increasingly worried about her. I decided to reach out to her family for help, hoping that they would be able to provide the support she needed. However, when I contacted Mary's parents, I was met with a cold reception. They told me that they had always disapproved of Mary's lifestyle and her choice of men. They said that they had warned her about the consequences of her actions, and that she would have to deal with them on her own. They refused to help her financially or emotionally, and I was left feeling helpless and alone. I tried to rally our other friends to help, but most of them were too busy with their own lives to get involved. Some of them even blamed Mary for her situation, saying that she should have known better than to trust a man like her ex. I was disgusted by their lack of empathy and support. In the end, I was the only one who stood by Mary's side. I helped her find a new apartment and a job that would be more accommodating of her pregnancy. I went with her to doctor's appointments and held her hand through the tough times. It was exhausting and emotionally draining, but I couldn't abandon her. Looking back, I realized that my mistake in reading the letter had set off a chain of events that had changed everything. If I had just respected Mary's privacy, maybe things would have turned out differently. Maybe she would have been able to move on from her ex on her own terms, without the added trauma of his cruel words. But I also know that I did the best I could in a difficult situation. I was there for Mary when no one else was, and I will continue to be there for her as she navigates the challenges of single motherhood. It won't be easy, but I know that with love and support, she can get through this. Thank you for reading this update and for all your kind words and advice. It means more than you know. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!